Greetings everyone and happy Fresh Friday. This is Akunna and we are back for another episode. How's everybody doing today? It is Friday. Hopefully that means that your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday went well and that you're ready to dive into the weekend. Pretty shortly I will be joined by Dr. Tao and we are going to discuss some additional healing herbs to help you on your wellness journey. I definitely encourage everyone to go look at our previous episodes because we have talked about and covered a whole multitude of topics and a lot of education. And we really thank you for diving in and for being willing to receive this knowledge. So let's see if technology is going to like me today. So I was having some issues even getting on here. Drop in the comments how you're feeling today. Peace, Meta. How's it going? Greetings, Dr. Tao.
Hey, Akunna, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm in Florida. This is the closest I've been to Nigeria in the U.S. I'm like, look at the palm trees. It's humid.
Yeah, for sure. Hold
How
on
are
one
you?
second.
Okay.
Doing great. I'm doing very well. Just
Good.
getting everything prepped, everything ready to be open in a few minutes. So
Yeah.
doing well. hmm
Okay.
So cool.
All right. So,
All right.
what are we
Like I
talking
said, some of these I
about
may
today?
have already done before.
You know what? Do whatever you're
Yeah.
led to, because someone needs
All
to
right.
hear it.
This is the Astragalus Roots,
Astragalus Root.
and that's
Okay.
good for um, the lymphatic system.
Hmm.
So that's your sewage part of the body. So that's part of your immunity, or people call it immune system. So basically, your immune system is comprised of your thymus gland, your spleen, your bone marrow, and what they call your lymphatic system. So those are going to be your four components of your immune system per se. Like, I put system in parentheses because the whole body is really an immune system.
Mm.
Um, so thymus starts with the letter T. So in biology, they call it T cells. You see, so the T cells means thymus gland. So here we not, but yeah. So that's just part of keeping your lymphatic system firing off. This is what happens when your mother goes through contraction. When you're born, it fires off. Those contractions rev up the lymphatic system so that it can keep the immune system strong. So
Hmm.
the astrologer works on that as well, and that's part of it. That's part of why it helps so much with the immune system. So
Yeah, I hear a lot about like with the lymphatic system, people say that you need to like move your lymph, and I've seen like lymphatic massages and
yeah.
stuff. So is it like stagnant in people?
Well, it only moves when we are increasing our heart rate above normal day leisure. So um, ideally, your environment works you out. If your culture is healthy, you have to work out go to a gym when you're not truly in balance with nature and your culture is not married together. If you see a leopard or tiger or lion, none of them sit around and start doing push-ups. You see, they're married to their environment, so their environment keeps them healthy and vice versa. So
Right.
ideally, making food and food and making all types of things. You'll see people have one stick, another person one stick, and then people
Hmm.
are making baskets and weaving, and then people are working on the farm. That's really how you're supposed to be working out, essentially.
You know what? I'm so glad that you brought this up today because I've been telling everyone that like the gym is just starting to feel so like it makes me feel weird to go into the gym. I went
Yeah,
out to a gym out here in Florida yesterday and they have TV screens in front of almost every single machine. And I'm like, how
yeah,
could you be like working out your bodies, moving your body, and then just being tuned into programming? Like people are watching the news and working out. So, I mean, to each
exactly.
their own. However, it just seems so unnatural. And I'm like, I need to get more into calisthenics and just
Yeah,
walking and just being active in my daily lifestyle. So, and I was
yeah,
like, Dr. Tao said it too. So I'm not
yeah.
crazy.
Now we had cell phones and iPads, all that stuff in ancient times too. We had those devices, but we only had 1 or 2 per village.
Oh, okay.
You see, and it was used for certain rituals, so you had to go to certain people to go use it. But in the Meta Nature, it actually states that the human body will become weak if there's an overindulgence in these machines. You see, so what happens is we become too reliant on these devices and conveniences, which causes the human avatar to become flaccid and unhealthy and overweight and all types of things. So that's just indicative of the environment that we live in today and how we're in disharmony with what is truly natural to our biological functions.
So would you say that like doing body weight exercises and things of that nature might help even more than just the body?
Yes, because see those the strength that you gain from doing calisthenics, which this translates to beauty of the body. That's all it means, and it essentially is the structure of the body that is sustained and maintained in the body. The muscle that you gain from the gym, once you stop working out for a few weeks or a few months, that muscle deteriorates. You see. So fat has good memory, muscle has short memory. All right. So when you work out the body through body weight training, the physique that you gain from that will actually stay with you for the duration of your life, your physical life.
Got it.
So you want to build the body strong calisthenically first. You see, that's the main goal. That's the muscle that stays with you. That's your structure. That's your actual structure.
Yeah.
When you go to the gym to put on these extra mass, that's overweight. And it causes the kidneys, the pancreas, the heart to overwork, and that's when you don't really see a lot of older bodybuilders. You see, they don't make it too long. So
right, and even like when I go to the gym, I'm not over there lifting super heavy weight. I do a lot of cardio, but at the same time, that's me on a machine. I'm like, I need to just go on walks. I need to, even if I want to jog or run or do squats on my own, like, because I feel like doing that gets me in disharmony with my body.
Exactly. They don't see it as a form of worship. That's all. It's a form of worship. The god Pectoralis is the god of hair, right? So if someone didn't want to be seen as being deceitful, then they would make their chest really big so that they didn't come off as being seen as someone who's a liar or a cheat or deceitful. So if they wanted to run away from their problems, they would make their latissimus dorsi muscles bigger so they can fly away from their problem. That's the story of Batman, you see. So when they go into the gym, they think they're just working out muscles. What they're doing is they're changing the composition of their brain and how it functions, and it placates it and connects it to a certain culture and a way of thought. So working out is a way of thinking, you see. And the more you exercise a certain god, the more that your brain becomes more of that particular culture that represents that. You see, this is why you won't see any African statues or big, like they're all slender. You see that that's not our culture, you see. So they don't see it as that. So they just, make certain muscles bigger than others, and it causes a disproportion in the body. And, so it's a form of worship. That's all it is.
Wow. Well, thank you for breaking that down. Because I'm like, I know there's some science behind this. I know there's something that that breaks this down. So peace to all that are joining us. Greetings, drink. We are talking about, we just got done talking about Astragalus Root, which is good for the lymphatic system, or the lymph area. And yes, and then we dove into kind of working out and the difference between calisthenic workouts and being in the gym and pumping iron and such.
Exactly. The next one, I'm pretty sure I covered this one, but this is the nettle, the stinging nettle, and this is good for any type of free radicals in the body. So what it does, it cycles it through the kidneys and through the bloodstream. So it's also good for hair, and it's also good for just keeping the polarities of the sexes. So it keeps the male body looking male throughout his life, and it keeps the female body looking female. So as you see people get older, the woman may start getting facial hair, and the man may start developing breasts. Well, the stinging nettle stops that from happening. It keeps the bodies in their actual state. So that's one of the most really good things about nettle. Nettle is one of the most nutrient-rich herbs on the planet. It actually contains almost every single amino acid there is
Wow.
that the human body needs. So the nettle's great for just overall vitality. It helps with energy, and it helps with just, like I said, it's a free radical scavenger. So it helps reabsorb into the bloodstream. So that's a very good one to have. So nettle comes from the planet. This comes from the planet Venus.
Mm.
All right.
So I have two questions on the nettle. The first one is, if someone has already started, like say a man has already started to form breasts and such, and he starts to take the nettle, will that help reverse what's already been done, or will it just kind of stop where the point is at and not let it continue?
Yeah, that would help a lot. He would also help to kind of, work on the soy content that the body has. A lot of times the soy has a lot of xenohormones and types of things that try to mimic the body's hormones, and it causes that. Or it could just be a tendency of the mother, while she was carrying him, she can actually pull too much testosterone from him, so it can cause he can have an already imbalance of progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone already. So a stinging nettle with nettle is the same thing. Question, but so just making sure that he stay away from a lot of the soy in the Western world. The soy in Japan and Asia, that's a different type of soy.
Is it really?
It's a different strand. So this is why they don't deal with those same issues, you see. So
why do they always mess things up in the States? What, man?
Yeah, so they but you can eat stuff like edamame, that's fine. But when it just says soy on it, you want to stay away from it. Right.
So if it's like imported from a different country, or do
Then
they?
that would be safer, but you want to make sure it says soybean. All right.
Okay.
Not soy. If it says soy by itself, then it's a highly GMO process.
Cultivation issues.
So soybean and soy are two different things. All right.
Got it.
All right. So it's all because you can make something from something doesn't make that bad. So I think people got carried away with the whole you can make plastic from soybeans and that type of issue.
Oh, okay.
All because you can make something from something that doesn't mean the thing that it came from is necessarily bad. That's a what we call a false equivalent.
Right.
Right. So you can make a lot of things from plants. You can make a leather jacket from a cactus plant. All right.
From a cactus plant?
The cactus plant, the outside of that can be used to make leather seats in your cars, jacket, clothing, all types of stuff. So, but yeah, so all because you can make something from something doesn't make that thing that it came from necessarily bad.
Right.
I think we did. I'm pretty sure we did Chlorella too, right?
Have we? I
may have.
Can't recall.
All right, Chlorella is a plant algae, and it does help pull heavy metals from the body. So remember that our bodies are primarily plants. We call them bacterial flora. So your guts are primarily just trying to keep the plant population in the gut, which we call prebiotics, probiotics, bacterial flora. So when it comes to our bodies, we are naturally we're supposed to naturally run off magnesium. So magnesium looks more green in nature. So when you see that baby comes out the womb, you say that baby has bruises on it. No, that's not bruises. Because if it was bruises, it would hurt if you touched that part of the baby.
Right.
That's the magnesium that is trying to use its first program. And what it does is it can't find enough magnesium in the mother's body because that's part of our ancient skin tone was green. It switched to its other program, which is iron. You see, and iron is kind of what it switches to get the nutrients it needs from the mother. Now it's hard for mothers to pass iron from child to child or from mother to child. So the whole thing about I don't want to get too technical here, but like when you see a witch with a hat and the pointed nose, that represents the phallus symbol. Because see, women have a hard time maintaining iron in the body. So
Mm-hmm.
the witch was designed after that so that she can mimic the iron or the phallus, because men can pass iron easier than women, you see. So the whole thing about the witch, there's a whole story behind that
Yeah.
principle. But she puts a symbolic phallus on her head, which you call a witch hat, you see, to mimic that principle. But anyway, so the baby's switching from magnesium to iron, and which causes the skin tone to create itself. So you have, if I were to take the color green, magnesium, and I'll take the color red of your blood, if I put that into a blender, it would create the color brown. So our skin tone is a combination between the bacterial flora of our gut and the color of our blood, which creates the hue, the color of our skin. You see. So since we can't access the magnesium, we switch to that. So they call a deterioration from magnesium down to iron, which the trees go from green in the spring and brown and red in the fall. So they call that the fall of man.
Wow.
You see, because the fall of man is the colors of the leaves that change from green, the original color, to the reddish hue, the oranges and the colors of our skin, which is the fall of the trees. So that's a symbolic principle and a literal principle as well.
Yes, everything is so connected. Oh my gosh. It always blows my mind to hear these things. Like the witch's hat, I never knew about that.
Yeah, there's a whole story behind that. I'm not going to go into it. We'll be here for a little while on that one.
Right, that's a
We may get
podcast episode.
kicked off Instagram on that one, but it's a lot behind. A lot.
Thank you all for the comments. Calvin says, thanks for doing this. Y'all, we appreciate you too. Dante Blend says, so much wisdom. There is a question here. Tasha asks, is it better to consume chlorella in powder form or tablets, or does it matter?
For that, it really is whatever you can maintain. Ideally, you want to get in the plant form, but powder would probably be next best, just because a lot of the tablets or the capsules can actually be MSG itself. You see, so you got to be careful with those little clear capsules they put it in. A lot of time that's MSG as well. So that as we know, that crosses the blood-brain barrier and causes neurotoxins in the brain. So we want to try to stay away from that as much as possible. So if you do get a chlorella capsule, then you want to make sure that it's non-GMO, organic, and that those capsules they put it in are not monosodium glutamate. So.
Awesome. And then Meta asks, what else can be taken with nettle?
Any herb that's going to come from Venus. I did a whole video on which plants come from which star system or which planet.
Where is that? Is it TikTok or YouTube?
That one's on TikTok.
Okay.
So you'll have herbs like calendula, licorice. You can do herbs like burdock root. There's a lot of things you do, but the main thing you want to do is you want to make sure that whatever you're taking the nettle for, you're trying to send it to that part of the organ. So like if you want to send it to your brain, you want to mix it with gotu kola or ginkgo biloba. You want to send it to your uterus, make it with dangqua or uva ursi or pariarco or red raspberry. So every herb has to have a direction, has to have an address that it goes. Okay, you don't go to the post office and just take something there. You have to have an address. So we have something called directional herbs. So those send it to either the liver, you can send it to the brain, to the lungs with lobelia or pleurisy, you see your mullein. You can send the herb wherever you want to send it based off what you attach it to. So you want to send nettle to your liver, attach it with yellow dock root, you see, those types of things like that. So it's a whole, being an herbalist is just like being a chemist. All right, it's the same field. You're just studying it from a more holistic standpoint. But one's micro, one's macro. So herbology is the same thing as astrology too, because the plants take you to the planets. So this is why I was talking about the whole thing about the herbs. You can't just put certain herbs together, because there's a disruption of some planets. Venus and Mars don't get along with each other. So I put something like from Mars, like garlic or cayenne with nettle, is not going to work well. You see, so those things won't work together well. So understanding the spin cycles of these, which you can just understand by what we call horticulture. You can plant certain herbs together and help them grow more efficiently. Or you can grow them based off the moon cycles. You see, there's many ways to tap into this. You see, so the bottom of the root, that's going to be your earth signs. The stem, that's going to be your water signs. The leaves are going to be your air signs, and the fruit that it bears is the fire sign. So if I want something to grow and I don't have any nutrients around me, then I need to make sure that I'm growing. I start to plant it based off a new moon cycle. New moon represents growth. So when I plant it on new moon, then that root of that plant cycles with the new moon. So it causes that plant to become more nourished, and which will actually eliminate the whole pesticide industry. Because see, now what happens is a lot of the pesticides they put on the plants is because there's a deficiency of nutrients in the plant, not an abundance. So a deficiency of nutrients causes the pest to eat at it. If there was enough nutrients in the plant, then the pest would not come and eat it.
Oh wow, because it would be strong, like too
Strong enough to
strong.
resist it. You see.
Wow.
So nature consumes things that are left over, not things that are in abundance. So it would be strong enough to defend itself off from those types of issues. So
Wow. And every herb has a planet, right?
every herb has a planet or a star system.
I needed to watch that video because I'd be like, what's his name, Professor X. I'm like a little bit of this, a little bit of that when I make some teas.
Well,
So,
they all connect. I was say it's a certain star. And when you look at the star Taurus is a certain star that's red. When you look at it, if the star is right in his eye, it's a red star right in his eye, and they call that the bullseye, which is what they get the bullseye game from. You see, so all the stuff that you see as being like a game or solitaire or bowling, and these are all coming from something. It's not just arbitrary. Someone's not just saying, okay, let's make up a game called jacks, or let's make up a game called spades. And no, those are representing some type of cosmic principles. Dominoes, all that stuff is coming from chess. We call it drops. This is all part of our initiation. You see, it's part of your what they call the mystery school system. You see, but it's really just understanding the elements so that you can graduate from an elementary education. You see, the person who's not good at math is a person who is a political issue. Not being good at math is a political issue. It's not an intellectual issue.
you got to break that down a little bit.
Not being good at math is the inability for that mind to think in abstractions. You see, the abstraction of thought allows the mind to actually partake in what you call the mathematics. When someone thinks concretely, then they get stuck into what things actually are. But see, math is abstraction. So if someone can't see the oppression that we're in, the society, and these types of things, then they can't see things abstractly. They say, this person is nice to me, therefore this doesn't exist. This system doesn't exist because this person, we had a good conversation. This person smiled at me, so therefore racism doesn't exist. They had good manners, you see.
Yeah.
So that's concrete. That's a social interaction with two people. The abstraction is what allows that person to have good manners. That means whatever that car you have or house you have requires for someone to be oppressed. So what in society allows good manners to exist? You see, if for someone to have those good manners, then that means that implies that someone else has to be oppressed to a certain degree.
Wow.
You see, so if we come from somewhere that's abundant and somewhere that's plentiful, and they come from someone that's not much of anything, how do they acquire that?
Taking it from someone else.
Therefore, that implies what? That implies an abstraction.
Yeah.
Because you see it, they can still be legitimized. When you can legitimize crime, if you have people who can legitimize crime and say, that's a nice house, a nice card, and that implies what? That your people were impressed.
Wow.
So your inability to see the abstraction causes you to be weak in math. Because you just focus on the social interaction.
Right.
So that's a political issue, which causes you not to spend with your own people. You see?
I do. Wow.
I ain't gonna go too deep on it on Instagram. We're trying to keep it family friendly here.
Well, I definitely think people might be interested in that video where you talk about the different planets and star systems with the herbs. So where can they find you on TikTok and YouTube?
So the TikTok would be Dr. Tao Kamisi Mkweli. YouTube would be the same name. I think it's Tao Kamisi Mkweli on YouTube as well. I haven't posted a while on YouTube. I need to get back onto it. But yeah, I'll try to get back around to that. But that video on the planets is on TikTok. If you can't find it, then just inbox me. I'll try to send it to you. It's deep in my archive. So
Thank you. Yeah, he has knowledge in there. Even if it's not, you haven't posted recently, the stuff that's in there is like don't watch a video without having a pen and paper near you. I'll say that.
Yeah, I made it a university on purpose. So the channel is a university. So you can just take time to watch some videos. You'll get some information on there. So
Yeah.
Cool,
Awesome.
cool.
Well, this has been Fresh Friday. We won't hold you any longer because I know that before you know it, the restaurant will be flooded with people wanting some amazing food.
I got someone walking in now. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Tao. And we'll be back next Friday for another Fresh Friday.
All right, sounds good. All right, thanks for coming. I'll see you later.
Thank you. Peace.
All right.